All right. Good day, everyone. Daniel here. So I'm just going to start us off with where we left off in the last class, and we're going to be talking on augmented reality. All right, we're going to be talking on augmented reality. Oh, product already. Augmented reality, and we are going to first off be setting up the scene. We're going to be putting a few things together so as to, get ourselves ready for, building out augmented reality projects. So in order to do that, we are going to go to our edit, project settings, okay? And do make sure you are um go to your build settings to make sure you are on Android, okay? To make sure you're on Android. Um, sorry, what was that? All right, to make sure you are on Android, and to make sure the current scene that you're in is added. Let me delete this and then add open scene. So when you create a new Unity project, okay, the first scene you're brought in, the new scene you're brought in, the default scene, make sure you add it to the build settings and make sure you switch platforms to Android. Okay, if you're not on Android, switch to Android, and then you'll be able to build to Android. All right, so now that we're on Android, let me open this up. You will want to first off name your company, or fill all these in. So since we're you know under the African XR community, I'm going to put that as company name, the AR project. All right, so make sure that that is that, or you can name it whatever you want. uh this is the very first version. Let's say you've been working on the project for like about a long while now, and you have released multiple versions. You can always change this to like 2.0459, depending on how you have been working on the project or how you want to structure your versions. Okay, so yeah, we don't need so much of these. Resolution. Okay, since we're building for Android, it's always best to have it on, let's have it on portrait, except we want to use landscape, but for now let's just have it at portrait. Native aspect ratio is good, full screen is also good. Okay, 32-bit display, yeah, all of these are all good. So that's good for resolution and presentation. Splash image, I like using all sequential. Okay, if you have like a logo you want to use, you can just create this, put it up front, add your logo over here. But we're not doing any of that, so we're just going to take that out. Okay, I always like using light on dark. So the image, if I switch this, you can see this becomes the dark one, but I prefer using light on dark. So the text and all will be white while the background will be dark. Okay, so that's how that works. Blur background image, you can set this color. It's usually somewhere here, you can just set it to black that way. That's good. So other settings, so this is where you want to pay close attention. So for Android, it's always best not to build out to linear. If it's a linear, change it to gamma. Okay, for the color space. Okay, all of these are set by default. All right, so yeah, for what we are building to, okay, so what we're building to, if you need to change this, which, but I wouldn't advise you change this, you can just change this to, if you notice that it's not doing this, because this is where it's getting it from. If you notice that it's not picking it up directly, you can change it to that, okay? But otherwise, just it's always best to leave it as is. All right, but make sure that it is the company name dot the AR project, or whatever the project name is. Okay, now this is very important. Okay, usually it's going to be here. The minimum API level is going to be here, but since we're building for since we're creating an augmented reality project, most Androids, or yeah, most Android API levels do not handle them up until Android 8. Okay, so it's always best to put it at API level 26, all right, and then it's nice to leave it as the highest installed. So in our case, that is level 30. That's for Android 11. Okay, if you have Android 12 installed, put it at Android 12, but it's always best to just leave it as the automatic highest installed. Okay, and if your scripting backend is at mono, switch to IL to CPP. Okay, make sure that that's what is supported, and your ARM64 might not be ticked, so you'd see something like this. You're making an Android IL2 CPP build, but it does not have native 64 support. So if you're building to IL2 CPP, you want to have ARM64 enabled. Okay, that takes out the error that we have there. So yeah, I guess that is majorly everything for us to set up. Everything else is, except you're publishing, you can just create a custom key, select a path where your custom key is, but we're not publishing to the Play Store for now. So if you need to publish to the Play Store, you can get a way to do that. But for now, everything we need is properly set up. All right, so we want to start getting the want to start getting a bunch of things. Okay, so usually I um would come here. Okay, go to the package manager and then head on over to Unity registry. Let this fetch the packages, and then we will just go straight ahead and download the, or just import the augmented reality packages for Unity. But we're not going to do that. Okay, we're not going to be doing that. But we do want to make sure that we can build properly for XR and AR projects. Okay, so we do want to make sure that that is properly set up, and then after we set that up, we will jump right into it. We're not going to be using Unity's AR toolkits because it doesn't, um, even though it works, it's not supported in every mobile device for some reason. Some the Google AR toolkits is not supported in every device, even though Android API levels 8.0, that's it kind of slow. Android API levels 8.0 all the way down, all the way up to uh, the Android um, 12 is properly supported. This is taking forever. Okay, I guess while this is going on, let's just make sure we have the other. Um, so you want to come to Vuforia. Okay, so this is their website, developer.vuforia.com. Okay, so this website is where we're going to be majorly using. Okay, so if you don't yeah, so register and create an account with them. Okay, so we can just come over, create an account, and uh we will be good to go. So first name, company name, email address, password, the usual. But I already have an account, so I'm just going to put in my account details and then log in. All right. Okay. Hopefully Unity is showing packages now. All right. So after immediately we set up, I'm just going to jump back into Unity and then set that up too. All right. So what the first thing you need to do is um okay, yeah, the first thing we need to do is actually download the Unity package for Vuforia. Okay, so make sure you download this. All right, so I already have it downloaded, so but you can just click download as such, and then it will go ahead and download it for you. But I have already have that downloaded, so I'm just going to cancel that. So for now, let's just jump back right into Unity, and then get all the way to AR. Okay, not this. Let's go to XR plugin manager. Okay, so we want to make sure that this is installed. Okay, so in order to see whether or not that is working, let's come to here. Okay, we don't have that up, so I want us to see. Okay, yeah, AR toolkit. Good. So it should be one of these. All right, so you can either, so we're going to be using the AR foundation toolkit. So game object items for creating AR setup and all of these. So you can just install the toolkit. Okay, you can just install the toolkit. Okay, so I'm trying to remember whether or not we need XR interaction. Okay, just get the AR foundation toolkit. Okay, or do we need these? Okay, so for now just install that. Okay, so it will help us with image tracking and whatnot at the very least. Okay, so while that is installing, let's set up Vuforia. Okay, so head back to your browser and go back to Vuforia. By the time this is downloaded, the next thing you need to do is go to develop. Okay, all right. Um, okay, so license manager. Okay, so I already have like a license for this, but you can create a new license key. Okay, you can create a new license key. To do that, you need to get basic. Okay, except if you want to get a premium, uh, give it a name. Let's say like AR test 2 or something. Click the checkbox and then confirm. Okay, immediately you confirm that, you would be given a license key. Okay, so just follow the prompts and then click open to see your license key, and this is the license key. Immediately select it, it's copied to clipboard. Right, it's copied to clipboard. So I think that is installing. Okay, sorry about that. So it would bring in the to import the AR toolkit for us, and we can just get started in setting up everything we need for um, development. So it's going to reload the entire project, and then so head over to where you downloaded the Vuforia toolkit. Okay, so this is mine here. Okay, so add Vuforia. So yeah, so add Vuforia package 10 point. So that is that. So what you would need to do, okay, so once you have everything set up, is drag Vuforia, okay, into Unity, okay, like so, and then it would import Vuforia for you, the Vuforia engine for you, and then yeah, just import all of that, and yeah, it would bring in all the necessary um, tools you need. Okay, so okay. Okay, I think we have all that we need. All right, so this is this. So we can start setting up our project. So the first thing you need to do, okay, what we're going to be starting with is image and object tracking. Okay, we're going to be starting off with image and object tracking. All right, so for that we're going to start by setting up the scene. What we need to do first is to get rid of the main camera because we're not going to be using the main camera. We're going to be using Vuforia's engine's AR camera. Okay, AR camera. So if we look at the AR camera here, you can see the background color has been set to black because we don't want to interfere with we're going to be using the device's actual camera. And we're not going to be actually using the Unity camera itself. Okay, so this is going to be projecting to the Unity camera, and that is what's going to be working. So we need to set up um the project settings, the configuration. So remember the license key you copied, okay? Paste it over here, Control V to paste, okay? And that goes in directly, okay? And I think everything else is good. AR core requirements, either you put a required or optional, okay? So, but do make sure it's not and don't use, okay? And then a very interesting setup is we have this, we can use the webcam and then you get the number of camera devices that are available. Excuse me. All right, so yeah, so that is that. Okay, so that is majorly what we need to get set up for the camera because this is the camera that is actually going to be working with our device camera, like our mobile phone's camera and whatnot. Okay, so let's go back to Vuforia. Okay, first off, we're going to start with targets. Okay, image targets. Okay, so I already have a bunch of targets done, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to show you how to set up um, image targets. Okay, and what you need to do is go to add database. Okay, create a new target. So we're going to create an image. So let's say image tracker or just say image target. All right, and then create. So that's image target. Open that up. Okay, and then we need to add a target. All right, so in order to add a target, select image. Okay, so we're creating an image target. So locate where you have your image. Okay, I'm going to provide us with all of these. Okay, they're going to be in the in a drive, and I'm going to share a link to that drive for us, which we're going to use. All right. So we're going to go to, when you download and unzip, go to King of Hearts or King Hearts, and then K Hearts, K underscore Hearts, PNG, and then open. Okay. So we'll need to put in the width in real world. So a card is about 0.062 meters. Okay, it's quite small. And then enter. It will upload to the target, and then you see it has a rating. If you go to the target itself, see this is it, and it is 5 out of 5 stars augmentable, meaning if it's seen by your camera, it will be able to track it properly. Okay, this is what it's doing. These are all the targets that it would locate on your phone or your mobile device for it to track that, okay, this is what we are looking for. Okay, so that has a 5 out of 5. All right, sorry about this. The thing is, I uh already created this for my project, so I'm not going to be using it. So you can just go there, go to it, and then just download the database. Okay, so you just download that. Make sure you download for Unity. All right, so make sure you download for the Unity editor, and then import it into your scene. So let's just download that for now. Okay. All right, so image target.unity package. So if I go back to downloads, I would see it here. All right, so you can drag this into Unity. Sorry, so you can drag that into Unity. Make sure it's dragged into assets, and then import. Okay, it would give you a bunch of so it's give you the image target and image target XML. Right, so what you need to do is go back to your scene, right click, and then go to Euphoria and image target. Okay, image target, and in the inspector you would want to go to database and then image target. All right, and then you would see King of Hearts, okay, or K Hearts. All right, so that's that. And now what we would need to do is you'd see in the observer events handler, okay, it should show events when target is found. So what do you want to happen when target is found, and what do you want to happen when target is lost? So we're going to set that up now. So what we want to do is we wanted to render out a 3D game object for us when the target is found. So we're going to right click and create a new folder and call the folder 3D assets. Okay, so go back to the go back to the assets I provide. I'm only going to provide us with this, everything here, and then this. These are the only things you're going to see in the project. Every other thing is mine. Okay, these are the things I set up. You would need to set up the image target, cylinder target, and multi-target. Well, we're coming to that. But all of these are what I set up for you guys. So go to King of Hearts, okay, and then just drag in the entire folder to the 3D assets folder you've created. All right, so that would import the 3D assets for them. If you don't want to use the 3D assets, you want to use your assets, you can always go to um, Sketchfabs and search for whatever. So searching for King of Hearts, you can get a bunch of assets So this is the asset I have downloaded for mine just to test. You can download whatever. You can download you know, a deck of cards. You can download. You can download basically anything that is currently downloadable on the Sketchfab. You can search for something entirely different. I don't know. Okay. Uh, yeah. Or if this is the King of Hearts image, so you can search for the King of Hearts image and then save. Okay, but I already have that provided for us, so you don't need to get that. Okay, so you can search for any image you have available. Okay, but just make sure it's something you can maybe print out or get available to you, because you're going to need to scan the image with your phone. Okay, with your phone's camera, with your mobile device camera. Okay, so since we have that, uh, go to 3D assets, and then in your 3D assets, go to King of Hearts. For those following strictly along, you would see we have the King of Hearts 3D model that I talked about. Okay, so let's set this up quickly. Extract materials. Okay, so let's just select that, and then it should extract the materials out for us. Okay, so let's set up the materials. So we need um we need this. Okay, so this is the red eyes diffuse. Okay, so this is the front, I guess. So let's drag in the albedo. Okay, so that is standard. Okay, all right, so go to the back and then drag. So make sure both materials are accounted for. Then go back and then we'll be able to see. We need the card here. So backside. Okay, backside is working. Face while. Okay, so let's put in the face. Yes, I guess. And then okay, so we have the face like that. All right, so that works nicely. Okay, so there we go. We have our King of Hearts card, I guess, and then we can drag and drop this into the image target. Okay, so drag and drop the 3D, but that's too big. If we go to the image target and then focus on it, we would see that the card is what's showing here. So this is the image we're going to be tracking, but if we render out this, it's going to be too large for us. So first off, we need to unpack the prefab. So right click on the game object, prefab, unpack completely, and then we want to scale it down. So you can either come here and scale it down, or just use R scale and then drag this to scale it down. So focus on that, still quite large. Drag it down so that it's just right above that. Okay, so this is what we want. Just put it right here so that when we scan, it's just going to create the 3D assets on this. So just for the sake of perfection, let's just do that. Okay, so this is the um this is the 3D object, 3D game object that will render every time we track. But for now, it's not going to work, okay, because we haven't set it to. So let's set up those. So on target found, when the target is found, when the card is found, what do we need to do? Drag in the hearts card, and then what do we want? The game object set active true. So when the target is found, the game object should be set true. That means this game object would be set true. So by default, let's switch it off. So it's not going to do anything. So immediately immediately the game object is found. What it's going to do is pow. It'll switch it on, and then we'll be able to see that object. But for now, and then when it's lost, it's not going to see the object. So let's go back to the image target, drag in the game object, and then that's set active, and then leave it as false, and then save. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So the thing about AR project is you have to be testing all the time. Okay, so always have your mobile device ready to go. Okay, always have your mobile device ready to go. Okay, so you can plug in your mobile device. Okay, you can plug in your mobile device, and I'm going to plug mine in now. Yeah, I was looking for my cord there. Okay, so and then I'm going to show us how to set it up here. Okay, for testing. All right, so I'm just going to quickly cast my screen so that you guys will see what's going on. Okay, so for the sake of this, yeah, so what you need to do is head onto your settings, okay, and make sure developer options are set. Okay, you would go all the way to you'd go all the way, sorry, I'm looking for the settings, okay, for the oh yeah, developer options. I was there already. All right, so um if you don't have developer options, you would have to think do a multi-click somewhere. I can't remember. You can search online how to enable developer options. I've forgotten how that is done now. I used to know how that was done, but I've forgotten. But developer options have to be on, and scroll all the way to USB debugging, and make sure your USB debugging is set to true. Okay, and then that would be properly functional, such that, so I'm going to close this for now, disconnect, yeah, so such that when you build, okay, you would be able to build to, you can see my device is showing here. Okay, so you can build and run. So when you build and run, okay, it'll open up the app on your phone, on your mobile device directly. Okay, but if that is not working for you, you can just put it at default. Okay, it's still going to do the same thing. If your phone has the USB debugging on and it's connected directly to your PC, you should be able to do this. Okay, but for the sake of speed, I will just, you can just also build. Okay, when you build, you can move your build, okay, to your phone, install, and test it out. Okay, so either way you can, so this is going to take a while, so I'm going to skip this. I already did everything, so I'm just going to show us what is going on. Okay, so if you have a printout of this card, or if you have a deck of cards, okay, you can just follow along. I currently do not, so I'm going to do a shortcut. Okay, I'm going to just open the card here. Okay, if your screen is good and your phone's camera is like very good too, you can do that. Okay, so All right. Just keeping track of things there. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen again, my mobile device screen, so that we see what's going on or what I'm doing. Okay, so um, you can go ahead and yeah, so you can go ahead and search for where the app is on your device. It's called AR project. Okay, so here it is, and then you can just install. Okay, so you can install this, and then yeah, done. So I'm going to just put this at the side here so that we see what I'm doing, and at the same time that it would be showing properly. Okay, so this is going to be here. No, don't let it be too large. All right, so okay, I think that's good. All right, so you can no, you can navigate to the app AR project. It'll open up, and then to bring up your camera. Okay, it's going to be the same process if you so yeah. So this is my PC. Okay, so if I point at the game object, at the card, you can see it instantiates that game object for us. Okay, so we get to see that game object render out in 3D. Okay, I'm moving my phone around while it's plugged in. That's why it was making all of that noise. Sorry. So we get to see this render out. Okay, so this is my phone screen, and this is what I'm, recording, or this is what I'm tracking. You can see it tracks it nicely. Okay, so now it's lost, and then it can't find it. So if I take it out, you can see it doesn't find it, and then it switches off just the way we programmed it to. Okay, it sees it. If it goes away, it just deletes it and then comes back. Okay, so it's doing exactly what we want it to do, setting it active and setting it um back to normal. Okay, default sorry, setting it active true and active false depending on whether it sees the game object or not. Okay, so you can do this with any image you have available. Just follow the setup the way it is, and then it would work. In the next video, we're going to create an app, a full app. This time, this is just using the um this is just using the default camera directly to track all of these. Okay, so quickly, um I'm going to set up Euphoria for something else. Okay, so still on tracking images. Okay, still on tracking images. We can switch this off for now. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. We're going to be tracking. Okay, not images now. We're going to be tracking. We're going to be tracking the. We're going to be doing a cylinder track. Okay, so we're going to be doing a cylinder track. Okay, and it basically follows the same logic. Okay, not exactly the same logic, but let's just jump right into it. Okay, so for this we are going to need um to create a cylinder track. All right, so let's create one. So go to database, create. So we're gonna create, sorry, we're gonna create a cylinder underscore tracker. All right. I'm going to create a cylinder track and create. Okay. Okay. And then add target and cylinder. All right. Now, this is where things will get a bit tricky. All right. So all we need to do is get the bottom diameter. If you have like a ruler or a measuring tape to get the diameter of the um, cylinder you're using. So it can be a bottle, it can be a flask, anything that is cylindrical in nature. It could, for in our case, we're going to be using a Coca-Cola bottle, okay, so that we can track. We basically want to track the wrapper around the Coca-Cola bottle. So I've gone ahead to measure that, and so go to the asset info. So for the cylinder details for the Coke bottle, the diameter we're going to be using is 0.005 meters. Okay, so that's the bottom and top diameter. Okay, for the side length, okay, we're going to be using 0.055 meters. You want to make sure that you have the right measurement for the cylinder you are working with. Okay, make sure you have the right measurement for your cylinder. And then we're just going to name this Coca. They won't let me use space, so I'm just going to say underscore cola. Okay, so Coca-Cola. All right, and then add. But you would notice something. Okay, you notice something. The status is incomplete and then the rating is not available. That's because there is nothing we're basically tracking right now. Okay, so we only want to use the side. So yeah, another very tricky thing is the file must be 24 bits PNG or JPEG. All right, and it must be less than 3 MB, less than or equals to 3 MB. So max size 3 MB. Okay, but I have taken the liberty to create one for us. Okay, so use the wrap around 2 if you're following along with me, or you can get the image. Okay, so how do you get the image? The aspect ratio of the image, you can use Photoshop or any image editing software to do this, but the aspect ratio has to be, so for the Coca-Cola, okay, it has to be the circumference. All right, this is actually wrong. Okay, this is actually wrong. Let me just correct that. This is supposed to be 187, I think. So you remember, getting the circumference of a circle is pi r, 2 pi r. Wow, I've forgotten maths. 2 pi r, okay, but we're using the diameter. Okay, so that's going to be 2 pi d over 2, which is pi d. Okay, so we're just going to be using the value of pi, which is 3.142, multiplied by the diameter, which is 0.05. Okay, so if we put that in a calculator, 3.142 multiplied by 0.05, we get about, and I was wrong. Yeah, we get about 0.157. Okay, 0.157. So this is what we are going to use to get your aspect ratio. So the aspect ratio is then going to be your width divided by your side length. Okay, this is the side length or height, the height of your cylinder. Okay, the circumference of your cylinder. So I'm just going to put this here. Okay, I'm just going to put this here. It is going to be aspect ratio. Okay, so aspect ratio is going to be circumference multiplied by your height. Okay, height of the cylinder, which in our case is circumference is this. Oh, sorry, it's not multiplied by. This is divided by. Okay, which is this divided by 0.055, which is our case is, so this divided by 0.055 is about 2.85. Okay, so in your image editing software, you want to make sure that whatever the height, or whatever the pixel the width by height values are, the ratio would be 2.85. Okay, here it's showing 2.856, but yeah, so make sure that that is that. And how do you do that? I'm just going to show you how that is quickly done. So if I create a new, if I create a new if I create a new game object, that's mixing these things up. So if I create a new image here, this is Medbank Paint. I have Photoshop installed, but Photoshop takes a while to open, so I'm just going to do this directly here. But this also works directly in Photoshop. So if you have the height as let's say you have the height as 400, you want to make sure that the height, the width is going to be the height multiplied by the aspect ratio you calculated, which is 2.856. Okay, so this would be 400 multiplied by that. Did that give me the right value? No, it did not. So you can so let's just get rid of everything here. Sorry. We're going to be coming to all of these in a bit. I had to set it up for that. Okay, so sorry. So it didn't work. So you can just put this in your calculator. So 2.856. So that gives us about 1142.4. Okay, so yeah, this is something we're going to use. And then whatever image you want to create has to fit into this. So this is what I ended up having. Okay, so just fit it in, maybe take a picture of a Coca-Cola bottle or the wraparound, and then fit it into that space. Okay, so once you have that done, just for sampling, okay, then just make sure it fits into, if you need to learn how to use Photoshop, go learn how to use Photoshop or any image editing software. Yeah, so just make sure it fits in properly. It doesn't have to be the entire image. Just make sure a reasonable part can wrap around itself. Okay, so something like that, and then save, and then figure out the rest from there. Go back to Vuforia, select the one you have, or if you're following along, just select that, open, and then upload. This would scan that, and then it would upload it for you, and then there we go. So this is what it's going to be tracking in the cylinder. Okay, so this is what it's going to be tracking. All right, so now we can go back to the cylinder tracker. If you have images for the top and bottom, though, do make sure to fill those in, but I don't need that for now, so I'm just going to leave it empty, and then download for the Unity editor. Download. Okay. Throat's kind of dry, and then we have the cylinder tracker. Okay, so go back to downloads. All right, so that's the cylinder tracker. Drag it into Unity, Okay, make sure you have it in the assets and then import, and then it's going to import the cylinder track for us. And then we have this data. Okay, so it takes in the diameter and then all of the um, and all of the info that we put in. Okay, so now let's set it up before our engine. Cylinder target. Okay, so you see it already created that for us. So yeah, since it knows we're using the database, you can just add cylinder tracker. And if you have more than one cylinder track target created, but since we're using Coca-Cola, it's just going to create Coca-Cola for us. Focus on that, and then you can see that it gives us a wraparound image or wraparound target. Okay, so we need to track something. I did not get any. Let's just track a cylinder since this is a cylinder. Okay. Oh, cylinder is too big. Okay, scale it down all the way down. Scale it down. Okay, just about here. Okay, just about here. Yeah, let's scale it up a bit. And yeah, I think this should work for now. But it's advisable to have a reasonable 3D. But this is just for the sake of testing, okay? You can do anything crazy. But this is, in case of trying to check for a product, you want to make sure that, okay, this is a Coca-Cola product. Let's, do something with it. So the same thing as always, put in your image track, okay, for the event. So once the target is found, we want the object to show. Once it's lost, we want it to switch off, set it false. Okay, and on default, set it false. Okay, so that it doesn't just start up and then it's showing the object. And then again, do the same thing, target and then build. Okay, but I already have it built out. So do build, and then when you build, either if you build and run, it would open directly into your Unity. It should open directly into your mobile device if you have your USB debugging option on. Okay, and then if you don't, you can just build directly and then build that and then install and import. But I already have that going, so I'm just going to shaking all of this. All right, so I have this up and running. Okay, that disconnected there. Okay, I'm going to reconnect this, and then I have a Coke bottle that I finished drinking earlier. So I'm going to use that to test the app. Okay, where's my bottle? Okay, so it's connecting, waiting for us. Okay, oh, yeah, that was still open. All right, so made in Unity. I have my Coke bottle ready, waiting for this to come up. All right, so yeah, so that's the Coke bottle. You can see it already tracks it. Okay, so it tracks the. So if I cover that up, you can see it goes away, and then there's nothing shows because it's lost. But immediately that comes back up, it tracks it perfectly. It's jittering a bit, but you can see that it is in the 3D space. It renders it out, and then nothing shows. See, immediately it finds it, it tracks the object. If yours is properly set up, it should track that just nicely. So yeah, I'm going to exit the and then disconnect that for now. All right, so let's head back to Unity. So that's how you do cylinder tracks. So we're getting really good results so far. So let's switch this off for now. And then let's do the final thing for today. Okay, trying to make sure we don't waste too much time. Okay. So yeah, let's just do one last thing today, and then tomorrow, not tomorrow, the next by the next video, uh, we should have something. We should have a working app, and then we would set up the app to be able to, you know, recognize recognize products, okay, different products from, let's say, a fashion line, or like if you have clothes that you want to showcase, if you or maybe like a bunch of phones, or you are a company and you have people can enter your store and actually see your products anywhere. So if you see a box or an item created by a company, you should be able to see, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So something like that. And then, we can just do a little bit of experimentation with the augmented reality applications. Yeah, so the final thing we're going to work on is, yes, working on with the products, but um, using a multi-target track. Okay, so go back to Vuforia, target manager, and then let's create a let's create the multi-target track. Okay, so let's say multi-target tracker. Okay, all right, and then device and create. Okay, so multi-target track, and then add a target, multi. Okay, so if you're following along, do make sure that the these are what you're putting in. Okay, so for the width, we want 0.32 meters. Always make sure it's in meters. Okay, for the height, we want 0.11. 0 point. I have to make sure. Okay. Yeah, just making sure everything is good. Okay, so always make sure if you need to measure, or if you need to find out the measurement of the box. So for the multi-target track, we're going to be using a box, okay, either a cube or a cuboid, all right, but we're going to be using the box. So any product that you have, all right, that it's in that it's as a box, make sure that that is what you're using, okay. So name, let's just say we're going to be using the Nike box, so Nike box, add. All right. So now this one is going to be a bit complex or a bit complicated to figure out, but follow along nicely. All right. So this is what the box would look like, and then you have the top, front, left, and that happened. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So you have front, top, left, bottom, right, and back. Okay, so you're going to want to have images ready for um, all of these parts, all of these faces. Okay, which I already do. Okay, so if you have a Nike box at home, you can follow along nicely. But if you don't, what you need to do is get the size, okay, the length and breadth of all of these parts and make images, corresponding images for them. All right. So for the front, I'm going to choose a file. Okay. So now you see for the box, I have all of these images: front, Nike, back, bottom. So this is actually the front of this, and this is not relevant. So bottom. So this is what makes up the Nike box, shoe box. Okay. And I have tried to replicate that. Okay. So you'd want to get the aspect ratio for each part. Okay. So for the top, the aspect ratio is going to be the width, okay, divided by the height. All right. And then by the time you go into your image editing software, you would want to replicate that. Okay. So in my case, the top is this 0.32 divided by the length, which is 0.225. So my aspect ratio in that regard would be 0.32 divided by 0.225. Okay, that's 1.42222222. So if my image, okay, go back to your image editing software, if it's 400, okay, so you want that to be 400 multiplied by 1.4222, which would make my width 568. Okay, 568.8. Let's just say 569. And then you want your object to be here. Okay, so let's see, in this case, I can just bring in the Nike logo and then, just scale that properly to fit in to what I want. Okay, something like this. I just hope Nike doesn't sue me or something. But something like this. Okay, so but this, try as much as possible to be close enough, all right, to the reference material, all right, so that it doesn't throw your AR system off. Okay, so I already have, and then for the front, your aspect ratio is going to be the width divided by the height, which is 0.32 divided by 0.115, which is 2.7826, yada yada yada. So I like using 400. So 400 by 2.76, 2.782, that is about 1103. So that's the aspect ratio for the front. Do the same for the right, do the same for the left, do the same for everything, and then you should have all of that set up. So for the front, go to Nike box, Nike front, upload. And we have the Nike front over there, just like that. For the top, we are going to get the Nike top. Okay, upload. Make sure you are saving as a 24-bit PNG or JPEG. Okay, and make sure it's in the right. Okay, now I'm going to do something. All right, I'm going to use the wrong aspect ratio. Okay, just for you to see that it does know. So if I use top instead of left, okay, it'll throw me an error. So please provide an image with appropriate aspect ratio. So you have to measure it properly, okay, and be very precise about the aspect ratio. It kind of gave me a hassle. All right, so Nike left, and then upload, and then it will upload that for me. Nike right. So where is Nike right? Okay, Nike right. Upload. All right, so that is okay. Now we need Nike back. So Nike back. So just follow along just nicely to the source material or to the actual box. So that's everything. Okay, we need bottom. All right, Nike bottom. The bottom is just empty, so but make sure the aspect ratio fits, and then you're using a 24-bit PNG. Okay, 24-bit images are what Vuforia supports. So we have the Nike box all set up. All right, this looks nice. All right, so since we have that, we can go to the multi-target track and download that. Make sure you have it selected for Unity. Download. Okay, so we have that. Okay. Um, okay, so go to downloads. So multi-target tracker. Take it to Unity. Always make sure to drag to the assets folder and then import the Vuforia assets for tracker. Okay, to multi-target. So you can see it has all of that. Right click in your scene, Vuforia engine, multi-target. And you can see we have this. All right, so this is the box fully set up for us. But we don't want it like this. We want the box to be, upright. So 90, no, not 90. 90 on the x-axis. 90. No, that's minus 90. All right. Okay, so this is lovely. This looks really lovely. Okay, so this is what we want. And I have taken the liberty to get us an actual Nike 3D asset. So you can go to Sketchfabs and uh, search for a Nike sneakers or a Nike shoe. Find one that looks nice. But I really love this is really close to one of the Nike shoes I have. So yeah, I have the 3D assets, so you can download the 3D assets. So it's going to be in the Vuforia assets. So Nike, and then it's the Nike TC. So drag and drop this into Unity. Okay. I should have gotten a Coca-Cola bottle. I should have gotten it. I think I can search for one. Okay, so let's say Coca. That's not how you spell Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Ah, okay. I should have gotten a Coca-Cola bottle. So yeah, you can get one for yours. Okay, you can get one for yours. So just download a Coca-Cola bottle or something. So the ones you see that have these download, this one is paid. So something like this, you can just download this and then work it out from there. So now go to the Nike game object. You can see this is the shoe. Really nice looking shoe, by the way. And then I think this looks good just as is. So you can drag the image into there. Look, it's quite large. Set it to 0. Properly set this up the way you feel like it should be set up. So I'm just going to select this, E, I want it to be like that. So that is minus 90. And then bring this up somewhere here. Okay, that is still quite large. scale it down just a tad bit, and then focus there. Just bring it here, like this. Okay, and then bring it down. Zoom, zoom. All right. So this is okay. Let's just bring it to be just at the top there, and scale it up a tad bit so that it's right on top of the. So that's this 30. All right. Yes, this looks good. Okay, so whenever we scan the when we scan the box, it gives us the shoe right that way, and unpack. Okay, it's not necessary, but I always like to do that. So create your target events. So when it's found, you want it to be set to true. When it's lost, we don't want it in the screen anymore. So, and then save that. As always, set it to default as this. Okay, and then build. All right, I already have these built up, so I don't need to build that. Okay, so I'm going to share. I'm going to cast my screen once again so we can see what's going on. Let me get my Nike box out. Okay, so okay, allow. All right. Okay, so there we go. Um, AR project switching on. Waiting for the camera to come up. Okay. So yeah, I am just going to. Yeah, it's showing, but it's not showing properly. Let's make sure this tracks properly. There we go. So we can see it tracking the box correctly. So if you have all of these set up nicely, you can properly track your objects. All right. So this looks just nice. Okay. So you can see it's tracking the Nike box and then projecting the image just nicely. So if I take it away and then just put it back to frame, you can see it's still tracking this properly. All right. So that is how we can so you can see probably you go to a Nike store, but thing is all Nike shoes come in this box. Well, for unique products like these, you get to see the product inside just by scanning the object itself. All right, but basically that's how um augmented reality works, or you know, most augmented reality apps work. It's keeping its track quite nicely too, so it's quite impressive how all of these work. So yeah, that is basically that. Okay, so sorry, kind of having a bit of a sick day today. Okay, so yeah, so that is basically all you need to know on if you can just have multiple tracks, you can have multiple tracks on, actually, by the way. So